What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, December 24th, 2019. In this video, going to talk about some different things. Bitcoin price predictions. In particular, BitMEX Research making their price prediction. Very interesting. I want to look at that. Bitcoin hash rate. Also want to look at Bitcoin charts at a very critical level in terms of moving averages. What is up, everybody? Hit the like button if you're getting in here in this live chat. Appreciate you coming by. It's Christmas Eve. I want to start this by giving a special shout out, a special one, to my Savior Jesus Christ. And I know not all of you celebrate Christmas, but it's a big part of who I am, my faith. I do get distracted by the commercialization of Christmas. And Christmas, and we say it all the time, Merry Christmas, is we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. And while December 25th, nobody knows the exact date, this is what we do to celebrate Jesus coming, God as man, to come and to atone for our sins, die on the cross, be resurrected. This is me. This is my faith. And so I want to put it out there. I feel like I don't do it enough. So Merry Christmas to you all if you celebrate Christmas. And if you don't, Merry Christmas to you anyway. And I pray that you have an awesome, awesome 2020 and an awesome new year. So let's do this. Let's talk about, I'm trying to figure out what order I want to go in here. So we have, I think I'm going to start on the charts to give you some context and I guess what the markets are doing. I did a pretty in-depth technical analysis the other day. We have a ton of patterns that we're looking at. This is the weekly chart kind of zoomed in here. This is going back to June 2019. You see we're in this downtrend. We have this falling wedge. We also have a head and shoulders here that you see potentially with a breakout, down to that $5,000 area. We talked about that in the video 2 days ago. Go check it out if you really want to get a deep dive into patterns. In this video, real quick, I wanted to talk about a couple things. I like to bring up this histogram looking chart. This blue wave is essentially the 50 moving average on the weekly chart. So it gives a nice, clear picture when you fill it in like that of just bull market, bear market, what it looks like in terms of moving averages. It just differentiates what Bitcoin looks like when it's in a healthy move or a not so healthy move. And so when we're in a healthy move, you see a bull market. And I've been saying we're not in a bull market yet. Many people up in this area thought we were entering a bull market. We weren't. It was the first little, bump in terms of Bitcoin testing a key level, namely this doorway to the bull market, but it's not the bull market. This is what we're going to see in a bull market right here, right? And we're not there yet at all. This was the bull market doors out of 2015 into 2016 that Bitcoin had a break. This wasn't a bull market right here, right? We're testing a key Fibonacci. This was the beginning of the bull market. That's what everybody's waiting for. We still have some time to go, so be patient out there. But look at the 50-week moving average, this blue wave that you see on the screen. And what's probably most interesting to me and what I'm watching the most is, and I've done this, even when we're back here at this Fibonacci resistance, talking about retracement from that area. I mean, I remember being 10,000 plus and talking about revisiting the 50 moving average. Now, I said I didn't think we'd fall below the 50 moving average. I thought Bitcoin would show nice support above the 50 moving average, and it didn't. So we're already a little lower than I kind of thought myself, right? I don't throw predictions out there a lot, but maybe I'm calling for like a 40% dip from this area, but I wasn't thinking we really go any lower. And now I'm doing technical analysis where we have targets that are even lower than where we are now. But if we zoom in, let me clean up this chart a little bit. If I zoom in on this chart now, you can see very clearly how critical Bitcoin is right now. And you can see it just kind of, right now we're under the 50 moving average on the weekly. And I really like bringing up this blue histogram because it really gives a clear picture. And so on the weekly charts, this is what I'm watching most. I want to see what happens. I mean, $7,500 is that sweet spot. We were testing it the other day, and we kind of fell back down, 7,100, 7,200. Right now we're at 7,200. And this is what I'm looking at. So I'll be watching the weekly chart, going over to the daily chart, same type of deal. In this bullish environment, Bitcoin looks like this dolphin of sorts, just keeps popping up above the waves, right? You see, that's what a bull market looks like. And we're looking for like the beginning aspect of that. And right now we're not even close because we're in an actual downtrend on this daily chart. You see it. And we're under the wave most of the time from hitting this Fibonacci resistance that we had here. So the biggest thing that I'm seeing is when we hit the Fibonacci retracement, or this Fibonacci resistance back here, it's the same exact type of resistance. Bitcoin very quickly came down, but back above and into the bull market. This time around, Bitcoin hit this resistance right here, and it came down, and it didn't very quickly come back above. We're still down. So Bitcoin, like on this daily chart, almost looks like it's drowning a little bit. And the one thing that I keep telling myself is this: Bitcoin came out of this bear market so incredibly fast, way faster than it did in that last bear market, right? It was a slow and steady rise to that Fibonacci retracement. Look at this chart, this daily chart is like not a slow and steady rise. So if we see Bitcoin drowning a little bit more, we see a little bit stronger consolidation for Bitcoin compared to that last consolidation before the last bull market. I think that's because Bitcoin came out of this last bear market so quick, right? And so you can see Bitcoin actually hit resistance at the Bitcoin halving in 2016, that Fibonacci resistance. Here's Bitcoin's halving. So you can see how much quicker Bitcoin has hit that Fibonacci resistance. And so we have some consolidation that we're obviously going through right now, and many people are not happy with it. But we have some consolidation before this next Bitcoin halving. I would anticipate going into spring that Bitcoin's going to make a move and at the very least test this Fibonacci channel one more time. And maybe that's in May, maybe that's in April, maybe it's in June or July. But I think somewhere in this area, Bitcoin will be testing that level once again, that $13,000 to $16,000 area. So that's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin, on the charts. I'm not really getting too much into technical analysis, but wanted to talk about these two moving averages, the weekly moving average, the 50 moving average, and the daily 50 moving average, because Bitcoin right now struggling a little bit, so could possibly hit targets to the downside, obviously, but time will tell. Look at the weekly. Look at the weekly chart in terms of the RSIs, these momentum oscillators. They just look nice. The RSI right here, bouncing right off that 40 line. We talked about it going into the 40 line. Is the 40 line going to hold? For the most of the time I've been running this YouTube channel, I talk about how critical the 40 line on the weekly chart is. Always want to see support there. If you want to see a bullish environment, if you want to see a bull market, Bitcoin needs to be above there, because trading below there on the momentum oscillator, namely this RSI, is pretty indicative of what a bear market is and what we're looking at. So you can see in Bitcoin bear markets, we're trading below that 40 on the weekly RSI. Bitcoin's forming its bottom. So we really don't want to go below that 40 line. So that's Bitcoin on the charts. I'm going to take a break for a second here as I pivot over to this BitMEX article. It's price prediction time, but I just want to say what's up to everybody. I see some people in the chats. Crypto Nana, I see you. Welcome to the channel. Aaron Levi, what's up? Edward Park, what is going on? 480 Shenanigans. I don't know if I have a MACD on the monthly. Do I? I don't think I have MACD up at all. Let me see if I can bring a MACD up. MACD. There's the MACD. Shenanigans wants to see it on the monthly chart. Oh, that's actually the yearly chart. So MACD on the monthly. MACD on the monthly. So I'm guessing Shenanigans doesn't like what the MACD on the monthly looks like. Obviously, you see this potential cross happening on the MACD below the signal line right now as we speak. Could it mean trouble? Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because this monthly chart, even the stock RSI and the RSI, paint a really nice picture of what could potentially happen. So the other day when I did my videos on basically these patterns and these potential targets that we have right now to the downside, $4,500, $5,000 range, right? These breakout targets that are very real, they would be a setup for a higher low, right? And if we look at that MACD, and actually not even just the MACD, but these other oscillators like the stock RSI here, this quicker moving momentum oscillator, you're going to see obviously this ugly cross on this MACD could lead us down, consolidate. The stock RSI, if we hit these targets to the downside, could fall into oversold, right? The RSI putting in potentially like a higher low. These could be conditions on the monthly chart that look amazing for accumulation. That is probably the best possible dip that we could buy coming out of that swing high that we had back in summer to $14,000. That's what that would look like. Many people didn't think we'd go below 10,000. Many people didn't believe we'd go below 8,000. And so if we actually hit this target to the downside, the monthly chart would look ridiculous in terms of buying Bitcoin. You gotta, find your own risk tolerance. I know my own risk tolerance. I would love to accumulate more Bitcoin down at these levels, especially just looking at this chart. If Bitcoin hits this potential symmetrical triangle that we've been talking about for a while for a higher low, going into halving in oversold conditions on the monthly, I can't think of a better time to buy some Bitcoin for a potential breakout. Potential, speculative. Bitcoin can fail. Bitcoin could go to $2,000, which leads me into this BitMEX article. And by the way, if you're here right now and if you're a replay viewer, comment below just your price prediction for end of 2020. I want to know. If you're in the live chat right now, comment below in the live chat your prediction for end of year 2020. I'm just curious. I want to see what you all think. I threw out my prediction. I said my prediction for Bitcoin price end of 2020 is $25,000 range. That's just true. That's my guess. What is your best guess? And I'll show you that on the chart and why I'm guessing that. But BitMEX, and hit that like button, everybody. I don't know exactly how many people. I guess 100, 152 here. Christmas Eve. Thanks for coming by. BitMEX is currently the dominant trading platform across the cryptocurrency market and often speaks to or makes predictions about the state of Bitcoin. The state of Bitcoin with enough authority that people do indeed listen up intently. They've even made some accurate price predictions about Bitcoin in the past, and are now predicting that the leading cryptocurrency by market cap will not, I love this range. This range is like incredible. Cryptocurrency by market cap will not set a new all-time high in 2020 and will trade no lower than $2,000, but not higher than $15,000 during the new year. That range is like ridiculous. What's up, Poseidon Lou? I see you in the chat, man. Welcome to the channel. They're like, Bitcoin is going to trade between $1,000 and $30,000. That's their research prediction. It's amazing. It's such a good prediction. It's like such a big range. Is that just me, or am I? So Bitcoin dominance under 75%, but also over 30%. I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go above 75% Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin research also mentions that they think Bitcoin dominance, the metric that weighs Bitcoin against all the altcoin market, will remain over 30%, but under 75%. The range is, I don't blame them. Like, they're a huge exchange. If you're going to throw out a prediction, throw out a range. Like, it's the safest play, right? I think so. Yeah. Greg B says, talk about safe predictions. I love it. Danny says, don't accept the cookies. I need to change my browser too. Most crypto investors are expecting Bitcoin to break its all-time high in the new year, with the halving coming up this May 2020. The asset's stock-to-flow model suggests the asset will reach prices of $55,000 per BTC by then, but the model's validity has recently come into question. So here's my question. Why do you think the model's validity has recently come into question? Why are people no longer like so bullish? First off, so many people were calling for all-time high again by 2019, the end of 2019. for a second there in June, like if Bitcoin just kept going, maybe that could have happened somehow, but it isn't realistic. And it's not realistic because if we go over to this chart, right? And I want to get rid of this histogram chart here so we can see the chart. But if we go over, now I'm on the monthly chart. Let me go to weekly. This is that chart I posted in December 2018. So if we hit all-time highs, right, back here in this summertime into June into New Year, we'd be like up around here, right, by end of year. And this chart, the flow of this chart, the technicals of this chart, it wouldn't make sense. So I'm not at all surprised we didn't hit 2019 all-time highs. However, and you can see I drew this line back in December 2018, this blue line with Bitcoin kind of on its way to all-time highs again, and we're right on pace. And so I'm sticking with this chart. This is a speculative chart. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Like, this is my best prediction. I'm just some dude invested in Bitcoin doing YouTube videos. So like, take it for what it's worth. This isn't financial advice. This is just my perspective on the chart. I like how the chart has come out to play since I posted it back here in December at the Bitcoin low. It's on pace. So if it continues that pace, right? And we're talking end of 2020 would be right here, right? That's end of 2020. On this exact chart, that's looking at around $40,000 Bitcoin. If this chart, like if this little line I drew played out perfectly, which I don't think it will, we'd be looking at like a $40,000 Bitcoin. My price prediction is $25,000. So I'm saying basically right around here by the end of 2020, right here. So, and actually, I'm just curious if I want like an exact price range. This is for the next year. We're talking, 250% gains or so for Bitcoin in the next year, which for Bitcoin is conservative. It's nothing crazy. So, but you see the flow of Bitcoin. And so we might even get this lower high for Bitcoin in the $5,000 range. I'm sorry, high or low for Bitcoin before we even continue on that trajectory, right? So this is my best guess for Bitcoin. BitMEX, their best guess is between $2,000 and $5,000, which is funny. Hopefully I'll see some comments on this video and kind of get some of your best guesses. But that's my best guess. 2020, $25,000 range. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is this. So, because the BitMEX tweet references dominance of Bitcoin under 75%, but also over 30%. And just look at, first off, Bitcoin hash rate just broke another all-time high, right? And I still cover Litecoin. I covered it so much more for the last couple of years than I am now. But leading into that last Litecoin halving, there's purpose to cover Litecoin more. And you can see, so let me just actually show you, this is Bitcoin's hash rate, right? And this is 2 years worth. Now let's look at Litecoin. So let me go over to Litecoin. Here's Litecoin. So what's happening here? I mean, at the very simplest level, market interest has changed, right? But one thing is true, and we can actually even look at Ethereum, right? So here's Ethereum, same exact thing. But then let's go back to Bitcoin. It paints a very clear picture on what cryptocurrency is king. That is Bitcoin, and it continues that way, right? It just continues that way. This is Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin's chart, and it's going to continue that way. Like yesterday's all-time high will be broken soon, in my opinion, leading into Bitcoin halving. And so we have to keep that into mind, especially in the back of our minds, especially now that Bitcoin halving is so close, and also the fact that Bitcoin is approaching kind of that beginning of its cycle. So in this chart, when I posted this long-term parabolic chart for Bitcoin, I do talk about technicals, right? And I talk about these cycles of Bitcoin basically have three parts. It has the Bitcoin halving. It has an all-time high, like around a year after Bitcoin halving, and then it has consolidation and a bear market correction. and then all of that in 4 years over and over again. That's kind of like what Bitcoin has been doing. And that's what we're anticipating. We're taking very little historical data that we have and we're applying it to potential speculative outlook of what Bitcoin can do. But it's very simple. Bitcoin halving, all-time high around a year after Bitcoin halving, and then consolidation bear market. That's it, over and over, right? So that's what's going on this chart. And so very curious to see what happens in terms of hash rate. Hash rate probably going to continue to dominate for Bitcoin. And then if you actually look at Bitcoin, this is one thing I could see repeating itself. So everybody knows 2017 was a very interesting year for altcoins. All these people, retail investors flooding the market, getting so hype on these altcoins. Altcoins are cheaper. There's crazy gains to be made, right? And look at Bitcoin dominance. This is dominance chart. It went from 85% in February 19th, 2017, all the way down to 37% in June of 2017. And since then, it's slowly working its way back up. And currently, it's at like 68% right now. So I believe that, again, going into that next bull cycle, altcoins are going to do really well. There are going to be some ridiculous gains. You're going to be able to see more gains on altcoins than you will on Bitcoin. They're way riskier, obviously, but I think the same thing is going to happen, and you're going to see this fluctuation in terms of Bitcoin dominance. However, in the shorter term, in the next 6 months to a year, Bitcoin, I believe, is going to be very dominant, and this will be an interesting chart to kind of watch and see what happens. So, Neo Patriot says we all feel that way because of the negative sentiment influence. But really, Bitcoin could move up really quickly. We can just guess. Yep, that is it. We can only guess, and yes, it is it. Bitcoin can just, at the snap of a finger, completely change what it's gonna do. And so we wait. And so we wait for that suspense. We wait in suspense. Litecoin predictions. I don't have any Litecoin predictions, but maybe I should do a video on that. Somebody said $10. I don't think we're going that low. I don't think Litecoin will be going that low. So that is it, everybody. I wanted to kind of cover these things as quickly as possible. One thing I noticed on Twitter, I put out this Bitcoin price prediction, by the way, $25,000 range by end of 2020. I can't believe there were some people, it seemed like a lot of people that were definitely on the bearish side, like, yeah, right, no way. But I'm confused because 2019, we were supposed to break all-time highs. That's the sentiment I picked up in summer. So it's very illustrative of the fact that when Bitcoin's just mooning on the very short term on the daily chart and going crazy, it's so easy for people to believe that Bitcoin's about to break all-time high. But when Bitcoin's consolidating in a very healthy way, I would say right now, consolidating, it's hard for people to believe or even picture an all-time high. I mean, end of 2020 is a year away. I said $25,000, 250% gains, and it seems like many people have trouble believing that. Mexican Charlie Lee said 50,000. Poseidon Lou said negative. So Dale says 0. So yeah, it's very interesting to see people's reactions. Appreciate all of you coming by. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're here right now, hit that like button on the way out. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. Would love to have you as part of this channel. I truly appreciate everybody coming by. Hope you have a great Christmas, Merry Christmas, and pray that God will bless you this Christmas and going into the new year. Have a great day, and God bless.